Golly, that's good.
I cracked myself up. I still haven't found my first Blantons. That's different. I really like that.
They're like together, like peas and carrots.
That's funny. Sometimes accidents are good things. Peychauds or Peychauds or Peychaud. This is not what I expected. Hey, it's Thursday. How's it going? It's Old Elk night, as you can tell. I professed earlier, earlier this month or late last month, something, that I am a Peerless fanboy. I really like the Peerless. Aaron's watching. Hey, Aaron. I'm also an Old Elk fanboy, and my purchases of Old Elk have been a little bit curtailed because these are expensive bottles. There was a time when my personal economy, wasn't quite as, quite so dire. So I was able to kind of go a little bit crazy with Old Elk, but it's expensive. So, and that's probably one of the downfalls of Old Elk, although I'm a fanboy. I like Old Elk. But we're going to go back and we're going to try a few of these again tonight. Some of these I'm not going to try. I'm just flexing. This is the small batch. It's a special release. We're not going to get into that one tonight. This is the rye. This is part of their core stuff. We're not going to get into this one tonight either. Then let's see. This one is a wheated bourbon. We've done this one before, so you can go back and look and see the wheated bourbon. This is. I like this one. I like this one a lot. I like it a lot. I like it too much. And so what we're left with here is I believe this is the sherry. This is the sherry cask, the rum cask rye, and this is one that I have opened, but I have not tried it yet. I opened it because this morning I got a great big cup and I poured this whole bottle out. And then I poured it back in, and then I let it sit here most of the day with the cork off, just so it could breathe a little bit. So hopefully that'll be fair to it. All right. Let's start off with num. I'm with you, Aaron. I'm with you. Let's start off with a little whiskey news. Some people have suggested that maybe we could keep things rolling and keep them current by giving you some whiskey news. So I'll give you this one. Never Say Die Small Batch Bourbon was released in the UK in 2022, and now it's coming to the USA. Produced by a partner distillery 30 miles south of Lexington, Kentucky. Never Say Die Small Batch Bourbon is distilled from a mash bill, 75% corn, 21% rye, that would be a high rye, and 4% malted barley. Initially aged 5 years in a Kentucky rickhouse, then ocean aged, there we go with the gimmicks, on a 6-week trip across the Atlantic before aging another year in England, prior to bottling at 95 proof. Never Say Die is named after a racehorse who was born on co-founder Pat Medden's family farm in Kentucky in 1951. Summer of 54, Never Say Die went on to become the first American-born horse to win the Derby at Epsom in 70 years. It's going to be available online primarily, and then it's going to make its way out to restaurants and bars and things like that, and then eventually it'll go out to retail. All right, let's get into the Old Elk. I've got another news story that I'll hit you with here in just a second, but let's get into Old Elk. It's out of Fort Collins, Colorado, known for taking weeks to proof their products down instead of days. Most products that have been proofed, water added, 24 to 48 hours. But these guys do it a lot slower. Proofing heats up the liquids, so doing it slowly keeps the liquids cooler and potentially can help keep flavor from evaporating in the process. We're going to start off with the sherry cask. This is a 6-year-old high-malt bourbon. So the 6-year-old high-malt bourbon is part of their core, right? They've got 4 in the core: high-malt bourbon, straight wheat whiskey, wheated bourbon, and straight rye whiskey. So this is out of the core of that high-malt bourbon. That has a mash bill of 51% corn, 34% malted barley. Wow. And only 15% rye. So if you're not a rye guy, you might like the core of this. Now this again is the sherry cask. We're not doing. Oh, I'm gonna finish this bottle. We're not doing ice tonight. I may not have enough to do ice tonight, but we will do water. All right. And I did a little splooch already. All right. Left is so good. I just wish I was able to. I know, Aaron. You're kind of on the wagon here for just a little while longer. All right. So you can live through me, okay, buddy? All right. So when I first tried this sherry cask, I didn't love it, and that breaks my heart a little bit because I really like the Old Elks. Well, let me read a little bit to you. Let's see. 51% corn, 34% malted barley, 15% rye. It was a single barrel, sourced from MGP, a New York producer and a Colorado producer, then finished in 10-year-old Oloroso Spanish sherry casks for 6 months. This one is 110.6 proof, cask strength, and the product of a single finishing barrel. All right. Now this has been open. I did a Bourbcast on this one, I believe it was a year ago. I believe it was December of 2022 that I first did a Bourbcast on this one, but I want to revisit it because I didn't love it. All right, here we go. Sitting helped that. That was nice. That really brought out some really nice flavors. So it's been sitting for a year. And I'm not as scared to do that. My Larceny back there is set for a year. My Stag Junior, it's still called Stag Junior, that's set for 2 years now. 2.5 years maybe, something like that. It's been there for a while. I've got the Colonel Taylor back there that's been open for at least 2.5 years. So I'll let stuff sit, and this actually very much got better. I like this one a lot, and I didn't expect that I would, but I do. I like it a lot after it's set. When I first cracked it, not a fan. Now that it's set there for a while, quite good. Let's see what we got here. How can you not love that? I know. I do really like it now. Just as it is. It's got a really nice, gentle wine fruit note. Yeah. I'm getting right to the tasting tonight. No nosing. I'll nose this one, the Armagnac, but I'm not going to fuss with all it on this one. Let's do a little water on this one. That's just, it's 110. It doesn't, maybe I'm becoming a proof hog. I don't know. But that 110 proof is just perfect. Just warm in my belly. Just very, very perfect. All right. I probably added a little bit too much water to that, but that's okay. I'm going to set that there. Yeah, I could have probably added about half that water. As a full milliliter, that's probably about all I had in the glass. All right. I wasn't going to complain about the mouthfeel because I thought it was fine. Adding that water to it did thicken it quite nicely. I prefer it neat. I like that heat that was on it. 110 proof, not overly done. Set for a while, so some of that heat is dissipated anyway over time. But not much. Not much. It doesn't dissipate a lot. And also, my palate is used to higher proofs now. So, but yeah, that's nice. That's nice. What else about Old Elk? Let's see. Greg Metzke, who spent 38 years with Seagram's and MGP, was the master distiller. He left MGP in 2016 to become master distiller for Old Elk. Many of the products produced by Old Elk are sourced from MGP, and some have a special mash bill developed by Metzke. while he was at MGP, that has a larger proportion of barley in it. Hence this bourbon. Kurt Richardson is the founder of Old Elk. Also founded Otterbox, and these toppers on these bottles are made by Otterbox. So, nearly indestructible. I mean, my phone is nearly indestructible. So, all right. Let's see, what else? So this year, the cask finishing series was cognac, port cask, and they went back to the rum cask. And rum is what we're going to do next. Finish this up. Looks like I'm going to finish this bottle tonight. That's all there's left of that. All right. New glass. Now, this one also has been open for a while. This one came to me, I think it was just after the single barrel Saturday they did in 2022. There's a gentleman in line who was buying it for somebody else, and somebody else didn't want it, and so he came over for dinner one night and he brought that bottle and he gave it to me. And what I did is I shared it whenever he came over, because we would do a meal and a movie with a group of people about once a month. And they'd come over, and when they came over, we'd crack this bottle and I'd share it with him. And so, I mean, he got to drink it too. And so, half this bottle isn't me. But he would drink it really slow, and he wanted an ice cube in it, whereas you know how I do it, right? I gulp it and I do it neat. But I remember right off the fresh crack, I really liked this rum cask rye. Now, the rye is a typical MGP rye. It's 95.5, 95% rye, 5% malted barley. It's just basically the same mash bill that goes into Bullet and Redemption. By the way, this is a rum cask with that mash bill. Redemption's got a rum cask it's a Redemption rye, rum cask. Delicious. You don't see it very often. I've got maybe one more bottle of that left. I think I bought 3. I might have 2 left. But I think I bought 1, and then I bought 2 more because I loved it so much. It was so good. And the longer it's set open, like I keep saying, the longer it's set open, the better it got. So I think I've still got 2 bottles of that. But again, you don't see it very often. I haven't seen it in a while. I haven't seen it since I bought those last 2 bottles. So that's been over a year. And I've had my eye on it. All right. Mike's watching. Hey, sir. How are you? I'm glad you're with us. We're doing the Old Elk series. I've got 6 of them here, but I'm going to actually only taste 3. We're not doing ice, just a little bit of water. We did the sherry first. This is the rum cask rye. All right, so the rum cask rye, give you a little bit on this, begins with Old Elk's 95.5 rye, distilled in Indiana, matured for 5 or 6 years. Then it's finished in 14-year-old Barbados rum barrels for 6 months. So the rum was in there for 6 months. Emptied it out, and then they dumped Old Elk into it for 6 months. This one is 100.3 proof. So this is a little lower proof than the sherry cask. Let's see. Barrel proof. The mash bill's identical to Bullet and Redemption. Yeah, okay. It's a sugarcane based rum that this sits in. It sits in that cask. So this might be, I noticed that sugar right away. I thought it was really beautifully sweet. Now this is set for almost a year. No, it's set for a year. This would have been last December's Single Barrel Saturday. Single Barrel Saturday this year, I didn't even do it. It doesn't really seem like the OHLQ folks had their poop in a group on this one. It was kind of a mess. And they didn't talk about everything they're releasing all at once, and then they waited until the morning of to say where you could get the stuff. My town wasn't even represented in Single Barrel Saturday this year, so I figured by the time I get 40 minutes away to where the next Single Barrel Saturday event is, whatever was there is going to be gone. Because they were talking about having the Weller single barrel which is one I need. They were talking about having, there was another one. Oh, the CYPB from also from Weller. And, you know, okay, they're hyping this stuff that it's going to go to these stores, but which stores is it going to go to? Because it's not going to go to all of them. And how many bottles are they going to get? You know, so, I mean, there was one bottle out of all of them, well, maybe two, that I was interested in. There was a Four Roses I would have liked to have gotten, and definitely the Peerless. But I decided it was better for me just to sleep in. So that's what I did. I never even got out of the house that day. Everybody else was, you know, flexing on the stuff that they got, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm glad you stood in line for 2 hours. I didn't. I slept. Ha! Love the Old Elk. Good seeing you again. Moved down to South Carolina. Hey! Nice! If you get the opportunity, Mike, head over to Beaufort. They call it Beautiful Beaufort. It's north of Hilton Head, I don't know, half hour, 20 minutes, something like that. That area is rich with filmmaking history. They made Forrest Gump there and areas around there. Paris Island, they did some stuff out there with Forrest Gump and a couple of other movies. Some beautiful, beautiful historic homes in Beaufort. I know about Beaufort because I have been a filmmaker in my past, and two of my films played at a film festival there in Beaufort. And by the way, it is the best I've ever been treated from any film festival ever in my life. Wonderful, wonderful treatment. They made us all feel like VIPs. I was nominated for Best Comedy both times we went. Didn't win, but nominated, which means a lot. Just a beautiful, beautiful town. And they've got some great restaurants. There's a restaurant in Beaufort. I know I'm going off the reservation here, but that's okay. There's a restaurant in Beaufort that was once a post office. And they're called Low Country Cafe, I think, something like that. They've got a breakfast of deep fried grits. I don't like grits, but this is stupid good. Stupid. And then their bacon is great, and you have that with poached eggs. And, oh my gosh. Yeah. Amazing. Larry's watching. Hey, how are you, sir? I won't go on and on about anything else like that. All right, here we go. This is the rum cask. I'm finally going to taste it now. Those sweet, sugary notes that show up. Oh, right on the side of my tongue. Oh, that's good. That's good. I don't want to finish this bottle. I like this bottle, and I don't know how easy it's going to get or be to find another bottle of this. And it's expensive, so I don't want to finish this bottle. And plus, the guy who gave it to me, I probably ought to share some more with him. But boy, is this good. Yeah. That is magnificent. Now, I'm not going to include this in my new cracks. Here in a couple of weeks, we're going to end the year with my 5 top cracks of 2023. And the one thing that I have put as a rule in the top 5 cracks of 2023 is I'm not allowed to touch anything from Buffalo Trace Distillery. It has to be stuff that is not from Buffalo Trace. Because that's the point of this show, kinda, is to show you that there's other stuff out there. Because there's a lot of other stuff out there. Within reaching distance, I can show you there's a lot of other great stuff out there. I've got it everywhere. I mean, I'm surrounded by great pours. I mean, shoot. Baker's 7-year, single barrel. Oh! 1792. Ooh! New Riff, single barrel. Oh. What we got over here? What's this one? Says Rick Rye. Yeah. I mean, and of course, Peerless. I mean, I got a lot within reach. I got some back here. My Willet stuff that I did. What is it? September. I did all the Willet stuff. August. That's back here. Once it's open, I don't want to put it back in the box. It's open because it's supposed to be drank. That's one thing about my collection. You'll see other people, they'll get their stuff and then they won't open it. I'm drinking my collection. All right, so let's add some water. I'm not going to add as much this time because, I mean, this is almost a perfect sip without the water. Oh, come on. What the hand? There we go. That's still quite a bit. There. All right. I have never had this on water, so we'll see how this goes. Good, but because Buffalo Trace in South Carolina is $60 a bottle? Really? No. It's good, but no. Somebody was talking to me today from Cleveland, called me and told me about a bottle. He said, I finally got a bottle of Blanton's. I'm afraid I don't want to open it. It's like, open it. I mean, it's good. It's not all worth the hype, but it's good. Open it. Try it. See what it's all about. Let it sit a little bit. Let it sit. All right. That's a single barrel. Blanton's is a single barrel. Some people don't know that, but that's what sets Blanton's aside from the rest of the stuff from Buffalo Trace, except for some of the benchmark stuff, but that's a single barrel. Okay. This is the rum cask with a little water. Yeah, I like it better neat. Yeah, I like it better neat. All right, so let's move on. Now this one I have not tried. Obviously, it's a full bottle. As I said earlier, I'll say it again. I opened it this morning. I poured it out into a large glass, and then I poured it back in using a funnel. Then I left the cork off most of the day so it could breathe a little bit. This is the French Armagnac brandy cask. It's also like the rest of Old Elk. It is aged for 5 or 6 years. Normally somewhere between 5 and 6. That's why I say 5 or 6. And then it's rested for another 6 months in the Armagnac brandy cask. This is a French brandy cask. Okay, so this one is actually longer than that. They aged this for 12 months. Barrel number 27, so it's a single barrel selection. This one rings in at 116.8 proof. So this will be the hottest one of the night. Armagnac is a brandy. It's actually closer aligned to a cognac. Kind of like all bourbons are whiskey, but not all whiskeys are bourbon. Same thing with cognac and brandy. All cognacs are brandy, but not all brandies are cognac. Cognac has stiffer regulations, but it's all basically fermented fruit juice. All right. So this is my first try on this. I can't call it a fresh crack because I cracked it and poured it out, but it's darn close to a fresh crack. I've been wanting to try this one. This was one that I went back. They had this for Single Barrel Saturday as well, and I didn't pick it up because, you know, Old Elk is pricey, right? But it came back after a little while. This was still the OHLQ single barrel that they picked for Single Barrel Saturday, but it came back out again for a release, and I happened to see it, and I was like, yeah, gimme. So, or either that or it just didn't sell. It didn't sell on Single Barrel Saturday, so they had some left over. It smells like bourbon. You know, honestly, it does. I'm not detecting any specific brandyish style notes. Now my nose is off. I bartended an event last night. It's the first time I've ever bartended anything, like for a group. There was like 25 people there, and we had all sorts of stuff. But the thing that went the most, the thing I made the most of, was a drink that I brought to the place, which is a cinnamon sugar cookie. Really good. It's got Dr. McGillicuddy's butterscotch. It's got Red Stag, which is horrible on its own, by the way. But Red Stag from Jim Beam. And it had Bailey's Irish Cream. And then I would shave a little cinnamon on top because I've got cinnamon sticks and I've got a shaver. right? So that I ended up, I did that for Christmas Eve for a friend of mine who's watching, Aaron, a couple of years ago. Same drink, Aaron, same one, and everybody loved it there too. So yay me. So everybody looked at it as a success. But I mean, I made vodka with cranberry juice, and I made a scotch. Somebody wanted a scotch with a cube in it, so I did that. And somebody else wanted Jack Daniels with 3 cubes in it. Okay, but anyway, it was fun. I had a good time doing it. And it's the first time, and I hope it's not the last time. I hope I get to do it more, because I had a blast. It was, and I did well. I've never done it before, so I'm proud of myself. I am blessed. How's that? All right, here we go. The Armagnac cask. It's a brandy cask out of France, southern France. It's just a little sweetness on the nose that would be unusual, but other than that, it's just regular bourbon notes to me. Ooh. What did I say this was? What did I say? Whew. 116 proof. So this one is drinking hotter than this one. It's only 6 points of proof higher, 3% alcohol by volume. So it's not a lot. But it's drinking hotter, which I don't mind. Let's keep that clear. I don't mind at all. That's a legit song, by the way. I didn't just make that up. By a group called Bourgeois Tag, if I remember right. You can take the guy out of radio. You can't take radio out of the guy. I had a meeting with somebody last week, and they said I still got it. They said I still got my radio voice. It's like, really? Okay, thank you. All right, let's get back into it. I'll see what kind of notes I can pull out of this. That brandy cask is present. I can taste it. Got kind of like what the first thing I got was like apples, pears, things like that, which is going to be typical of a brandy. I wouldn't have expected it to be so present in a brandy cask, but let's go. That's actually really nice. More pear than apple. Actually, very little apple, maybe all pear. That's very good. So some of the places I looked at, I was looking for some research and find out more about this particular cask and this particular bottle to find out more. And there were a lot of people who came off and said they were disappointed in it, that they wished it would have imparted a little bit more to it. The only thing I can think of is I wonder if they didn't do a fresh crack. You know, now some people poured it and let it sit in their Glencairns for 15 minutes, but they were disappointed in the pour altogether, and I am not. This is tasty. If I had to rate the three, the rum cask rye would be number one. This is fantastic. Well, of this group, it's number one. The wheated bourbon is number one. That's A-okay. I like that one. That's A+. An A regular with no plus would be this rum cask. This is fantastic. This Armagnac, this is definitely right under the rum cask. If I let this sit for a year like I did this, it may be right up there with it. And then the sherry right below it. And I've got other ones here, but I'm not going to open those up tonight. I was supposed to have the cigar blend by now, but it hasn't come. So I need to find out what's going on with that. It's a cigar cut, I guess is what it's called. And it's a bunch of different barrels. Like it's in a port barrel and a sherry barrel and an Armagnac barrel, and it's in a whole bunch of stuff. So it'll be interesting to try that one to see what I think. Everything I read online, there's two different cigar cuts. One of them is a special flavor. Everybody said that the regular was better, so that's the one that I went for. But it's not here yet, so it is what it is. Let's give this a little bit of water. Again, about half of what I would normally give it. Just to maybe proof it down a little bit. All right. See, now on the nose, I'm getting a little bit of that sherry cask. There's just a little bit of that wine sweetness in there, that fruit juice sweetness. I didn't get it before, but I am now, since I put some water on it. All right. Whew. It's still hot. Probably didn't put enough water on that one. It's good. This is good. This is really good. Very nice flavors to it. That pear jumps out, but there's other things too. Some of the typical bourbon notes. And keep in mind too, this was done with that high barley. That high malted barley mash bill of 35% malted barley. No, 34% malted barley and only 15% rye. So the malted barley is going to impart some of those fruit flavors anyway. So if you add that with the brandy barrel that it was in, as Charles Nelson Riley used to say, you might have to look that up. Charles Nelson Riley was a staple of Saturday morning kids programming, and he was on the Hollywood Squares, and he was very flamboyant and just one of those odd ducks, right? But that's the Charles Nelson Rileyism. Again, look it up. You'll see what I'm talking about. He was in Puff and Stuff a lot. Played a guy that loved hats named Hoodoo, and then they gave him a show of his own called Lidsville. Sid and Marty Krofft, the Puff and Stuff and all sorts. Anyway, all right. So what are we doing next week, Casey? Well, I'll tell you. That was a pleasant surprise, and it was worth the wait. That was tasty. All right. Hey, Sherry's watching. Hey, Sherry. I was just talking about our event last night. Very, very, very fun. Very, very fun. Really enjoyed myself. Okay, so. So, what we're going to do next week, next Thursday will be the 21st. And unless I decide to do a Christmas Day Bourbcast, which I might do, we're going to dedicate next Thursday to whatever, all right? Christmas cocktails. This will be the third year, I think, in a row that we've dedicated the entire show to Christmas cocktails. So I will be researching some of the cocktails. I will be remaking again the cinnamon sugar cookie that I made last night at that event that everybody loved, and 2 years ago at Aaron's Christmas Eve party that they all loved. I'll be doing that one again so you can see how it's done. And because I didn't get to have any of it last night because I don't drink when I'm working, I'll be making some for myself. And then I'll come up with maybe a couple of other ones that you can get into and try for your Christmas festivities. So that'll be next Thursday, the 21st. And then if I come back on Christmas Eve, it'll be brief, but it'll be something fun. And I haven't decided what it's going to be yet. And then 2 weeks from now, that's when we're going to hit the top 5 pours of the year that do not include anything from Buffalo Trace. The top 5 things that I tried this year, and they may not be this year's release, they may be something that's been around for a while, but I tried them this year on the Bourbcast, probably for the first time. I'm going to tell you what those top 5 pours were for me so that you can know what I thought was like the best of the year. And again, they may not have been released this year, but you get what I'm saying. You get it, right? So anyhow, that is the Bourbcast for tonight. Thank you again for checking us out and for coming along. This has been a blessed week. I have had a ball, and these bottles were a great way to cap it off. I know there's a Friday and a Saturday coming, and even a Sunday, but for me, this is almost like a weekend. I love doing this, and I'm glad you're here with me. Even if you weren't, I'd be doing it by myself because I have fun doing it. So, thank you again for watching. We will see you next Thursday for Christmas cocktails. So, if I come up with what they are going to be, I'll put your ingredients online so you can go out and buy the ingredients. That way you're not sitting here just drinking something while I'm making cocktails. You can make them along with me. It'll be fun, right? So I will try to think ahead and get that out there before next Thursday. So you guys have a great what's left of your week, and we'll see you next Thursday.